Hello there everyone, today's video is all about tax-free benefits. So benefits that you give to your staff members, to your employees as an employer. Some of them will be taxable, like company car. That's probably the best known taxable benefit. Even electric cars now still taxable for the employee, albeit at 2%. But there are a whole range of non-taxable benefits, and probably the most common one of those that's well known is mobile phones. Each of your employees, you give them a mobile phone. There's no taxable benefit. They don't have to pay income tax for the use of that company-owned asset. But there are a couple of others that I just thought I'd do a video on today that you may never have come across that might be of interest. So particularly this one, long service awards. So we'll talk about maintaining, retaining staff. You got someone who's been there for a while, but they are a real stalwart of the business. You couldn't do without them. Well, you can reward them with a long service award that's not taxable for them. Tax deductible for you as the employer, comes in your P&L, wages and salaries, but it's not subject to pay as you earn for the recipient. So what are the conditions? Well, first one is they have to have had 20 years of service. So they've got to have worked for you for 20 years. That's the first thing. And the cost to you as the employer can be no more than £50 per year of service. £50. So assuming they've done 20 years, what can you pay them? Well, the maximum you could pay them would be 20 times 50, which is £1,000. So you pay them £1,000 long-term service award that is tax-free for them. What else? No similar awards within 10 years. So remember, the rules say they have to be in there for at least 20 years. So you say, okay, well, we'll pay him £1,000 in this example, but what about paying them something else after so long after that? Well, the rules say you can't then do another one until another 10 years. So in this case, when they get to their 30th anniversary, that's when you can pay them another tax-free long-term service award. So just something to think about if you do have any employees on your books, been there a while, more than 20 years, just a little thank you, which they will, I'm sure they'll love, a tax-free, a little bit of a bonus there. So what else have we got? We've got, pensions advice, interesting. Since the so-called Pensions Freedom Day, 2015, where George Osborne was the Chancellor and he had an overhaul of the pension regime and basically meant that people can access their pensions a lot easier when they get to a certain age than they could have done before. So there was worry that people might be rinsing their pension pot and going to buy a sports car or whatever, whereas before they couldn't do that. So the government said, look, we will, to encourage people not to do that, we want to give them flexibility. We want to be able to access it, but we want them to be able to do the right thing. They still need advice from, professionals, financial advisors. So they said, look, tax-free pensions and tax advice for employees. So if you're an employer and you've got an employee and they are looking to access their pension, you can pay a financial advisor to give them advice up to £500. And that £500 that you pay to that employee for that financial advice from the financial advisor, that is tax-free for them. So that's a nice little tax-free benefit. Normally people know about that. Pensions advice, tax-free benefit. And then the other one is just removal expenses. Just remember, if you have a employee and they have to move by virtue of their job, so not necessarily from their own volition, but they have to move because you've basically, I don't know, you're closing down the Bristol office and relocating them to the Newcastle office. So for their job, they've got to move. Well, you can give them £8,000 tax-free to cover the costs of the move. 8,000 per move, and it can go on all sorts of things, like moving costs is the obvious one, but also things like bridging loans. If they've got to get, sell their house sharpish and get a new house, couldn't arrange the finance, bridging loans. So that £8,000 can go on all sorts of different things, and that is a tax-free amount as far as the employee is concerned. Again, tax deductible for the employer, tax-free for the employee, no pay as you earn on it. So just a quick overview there on a few tax-free benefits. I think probably not many people do know about well, all three of these I would suggest. So yeah, if you're an employer, do think about if any of this would be relevant to your employees. If you're an employee, obviously think about if this is relevant and have a word with the boss and say, hey, come on, what about some of this? So if you like this video, please do subscribe. And as always, I'll see you soon.